It's the Wishbone pod, and half of us are missing today. JT using a fake excuse that he's in New York when he really just wanted to watch the Braves game tonight. We've got Uncle T is here. G-Rizen is not here, but it's really my fault because I keep changing the time of the taping, and I just want to thank Uncle T for taking time out of his day and choosing to do this over mowing your lawn. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I was going to get out, mow the lawn, knock it out before our show. And then also before the NBA lock, we got a live golf show. Then we got MLB lock. And I said, no, Holden, let's go ahead and knock it out. The problem is we tried to get a hold of G-Rizen on the phone right before we went on. And maybe he's in one of them safety meetings, as he likes to call it. And we left him. I left him. It wasn't too bad of a message, was it? I mean, I kind of was direct and to the point, but maybe he'll join us. Maybe he won't. But hey, since you and I are the only two on the pod right now, I'd like to say that you and I are the most important people anyway. So
there's no question. JT wasn't even here last year, completely expendable. All we hear out of G-Rizen is about these stupid safety meetings. I don't even know what a safety meeting is to this day. It doesn't make any sense to me because I feel like there's drugs and alcohol, and it's not the safest thing in the world, right?
No, I mean, I have not had a safety meeting or been to a safety meeting, so I can't, I can only imagine what might be going on at those meetings. But anyway, maybe he'll join us. Maybe he won't. We'll get through it between you and I, though.
Yeah, it'll be easy. He wanted to talk about returning Tom Brady's ball, so I'm going to push that back as long as possible since it was his topic. He'd be pissed if we talked about it, though. We'll talk about last week. We'll just do a little review of last week. Packers, their whole team is wiped. Their whole wide receiver room is wiped out because of COVID. The only reason Valdez-Scantling doesn't have it's probably because he was on IR. I don't know. And then I learned something about Uncle T before the show started. Uncle T is a Ford Mustang enthusiast. And I will just say, again, G-Rizen would be very happy because the car is probably made in Detroit. But I had no idea that you were such a Mustang enthusiast. This is like the ultimate middle-aged V8 strong-powered car.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back. I got one back in the mid-'90s, brand new Mustang GT 95, high output, 5-liter. Thing would absolutely fly. Had it for about, 10 years. When my daughter was born in 2009, had to get rid of the Mustang to get another, as they say, family car. So we did that. But even prior to that, I had a 93 Mustang that was a used one. And then I had it for 2 years and then bought this new one. And then, I had about a 10-year gap in between almost, or even more than that. And I got one back in March when the boys were in from RPS. I had it for about a week. And then them guys came in and I got an 05 right now. It's got 90,000 miles on it. And I don't know if it's necessarily yet a midlife crisis kind of situation for Uncle T with the car, but no, I'm real happy with it.
I don't think it is because you have a history. There's a pattern of buying Mustangs. Like if I just one day went out and bought a Mustang right now, yes, that's in the middle of a midlife crisis. My best friend, he turned 42, I think. He bought a motorcycle. Complete midlife crisis. Will not admit that he did it. But did you have a midlife crisis?
No. That's just usually the quote, right? As you're getting older, the guys, you're in your 40s or 50s, even 60s, and you show up with a brand new Mustang, and people are like, oh, Uncle T, maybe was he going through a midlife crisis? Had to get him a nice muscle car and a Mustang. I've heard that a little bit, but hell, I ain't that old, Holden. I'm only 51. I mean, shit, I still got plenty of good years left.
I mean, I had my midlife crisis, so, and I didn't buy a new car, it's just going through girls. That was the big thing. And now I'm over my midlife crisis. Everything's fine now. And I did it. Well, listen, man, a lot of guys don't go through it. It's probably some made up bullshit. So you just take the craziest time of your life and then you say that's your midlife crisis.
I will say this, to put a cap on the Mustang story. So you asked me off the air, these cars are great, 8, maybe 9 months out of the year, especially here in the Cincinnati area where we don't have a very much a big spring or fall. We usually have where it's summer or it's winter generally. So it's either 95 or it's like 25 for the most part. So we're coming into the months where I'm going to try to, good part is I only drive about 5 minutes to work and back. So Don't have to drive very far, but not looking forward to trying to get that Mustang out on the road with some slippery conditions. So we'll see how that goes.
One last car thing. What's the fastest you've ever driven? I think I've gone about 160 something, right around there. It was I borrowed a friend's car, and what was it, like a Monte Carlo or something? It was like this supercharged fucking weird. It was a weird car too, because it's like something grandpas would drive, but it was really fast. And that was awesome. But most people I know have gone at least 180. Have you hit that mark?
No, not anywhere close, Holden.
Really?
No, I mean, no. I mean, even when I was younger and had the other two that I mentioned earlier, young and dumb, even, in my early to mid 20s. And actually the story I wanted to bring up from last week to this week, and we're already going to push it back to the following week, because when the boys are back, the story to Chicago, or the trip to Chicago, is going to bring up, it actually involved my Mustang. So, which is an interesting little segue if we had to, but we're gonna tease it a little bit longer. It's not that it was that big of a story, but it was pretty funny. But no, I think the highest I got up, probably the 95 I had back in the day. I was probably in my mid 20s, I think, maybe mid to late 20s when I got it. I think I might have had it up to 110, maybe 120, possibly on the open road. But I try not to do that. I try to be a little smarter.
No, it's really stupid going that fast, to be perfectly honest with you. It's as dumb as it gets. But nonetheless, it's also kind of fun driving fast. And if you have a woman in the seat, sometimes they like it, and sometimes they freak out. So it's really a 50-50 proposition there. Uncle T, other things to get into. Again, do you think G-Rizen would be upset at us?
I mean, I could try to give him another ring, but
you can.
When I called him off the air, his voicemail said, "Hello, this is Scott." I didn't know who Scott was, so yeah. So I'll try to message him again.
Well, do people know you as Uncle T outside of RPS?
No.
All right, so that's kind of the same thing.
No, because actually I'm getting ready to go into my radio season, as you know. So my Gmail account, I have specifically for radio that I log into for all of our stuff for RPS and stuff and use. It actually has my name, and then I've been getting some messages about radio coming up for the radio season, and people are asking me, who the hell is Uncle T? They thought they had the wrong email address.
I thought you were Tony until you finally said that you were you. I don't know if you remember that. We're in chat.
I do. You weren't the only one. There were several people, especially the ones in chat. They always thought it was we were one and the same. So
yeah, I thought it was complete subterfuge there. He was just like had this alter ego. Yeah, because I remember doing a show and you're in chat, and I'm like, Uncle T, this is fucking Tony. Don't even start. But it wasn't Tony. It was amazing. Okay, so we've gotten through that. Again, we want to get to the Tom Brady ball thing. Hopefully G-Rizen will join us, and we'll get back to that. But let's just switch gears real quick, man. You wanted to talk about last week. And I was just watching games. I finally had a chance to just sit down all Sunday, not even work during the games. It was great. And I must say, that was a disappointing slate. Not really good games there. The worst NFL day to me is still better than any great day in another sport, but well, except for college basketball. But that was a bad slate, man. That was not good.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest slate for sure. And when we get done here with our bullshit portion of the show, this coming week isn't much better. So better hang on to your thoughts there, because I do think this week is not a good one either. But going back a little bit to last week, it was a little bit frustrating for me because I feel like I got a lot of pieces right, like we all kind of do sometimes, and you're just missing on one or two. But, I was lower on Mahomes. I did have Mahomes, but I was lower on that game in general. So that panned out okay for me. I did have some A.J. Brown, and he kind of crushed. So I did okay, all things considering, that game being so much chalk. I wrote up in my gyms and also talked about it here on this show last week, the Miami Atlanta game I really liked. And, there were a few people that liked them with me, JT, I think, and I can't remember. There was a couple other RPS guys, but also there were some people who are like, they couldn't imagine playing that game, and again, that game didn't crush. It ended up 30-28, but I believe on the winner for the 100K, I don't think it was for the Millie, for the 100K, Tua and Gaseki were on the winner of the 100K winner. I can't remember the dollar amount of that tournament offhand, but anyway, what I'm getting at is I had quite a bit of that game. I did have Calvin Ridley, who was good but not great. So I feel like I had a couple good pieces, Holden, and then I had my 4 o'clock slate where I had some things going, and then I had both Jacobs and Miles Sanders, and both of those guys got hurt, and that really kind of dashed my hopes of really, kind of getting into a nice cashing week.
Well, I think you had Matt Ryan in your early core, didn't you?
Yeah. So so instead of Tua, I had Ryan with Ridley, and then I ran it back with, and then also I had Cordero Patterson. He wasn't in my core, but I had on my main team Cordero Patterson, and then I ran it back with Gaseki and Waddle. So I actually had 5 pieces to that game, and again, I usually don't do 5, but I don't know. It worked out okay on that team actually. But I had way too much of those 4 o'clock running backs that, and I also, like most people, had a little bit of Henderson. So I flag planted, 3 or 4 running backs, and those didn't pan out for me. So, I hit on some other pieces, just not necessarily the running back position.
That's interesting. No. I tailed you on the early slate because you said you were having success there. And I said, Matt Ryan, I don't want to play Matt Ryan. This is disgusting.
Nobody does, right?
No, I played him. But look what he's doing, Uncle T. Yeah. So what is this? DK scoring? Yeah, DK scoring 29, 21 and a half, and 19. I mean, the guy is service, definitely a cash consideration. And I think at the ownership, no one is on Matt Ryan. No one wants to play this guy.
Yeah, and most definitely not calling this guy out because he's one of my guys. But Bobby Gomes, and he was with other guys that he said he understands the play, but it's just not for him, and that's a good honest assessment, right? He didn't want to ditch the play, and I get it. I told him right back. I said, I get it. Ryan's not the flashiest guy, but if you weren't going to spend all the way up and get to Mahomes and some of those guys and pieces in that game, even Tannehill was fairly popular on the other side. So. And again, Ryan will never, I don't think, give you a ceiling game anymore. I don't believe, like maybe a 40-point game. I don't think he has that in him anymore. But I don't know. Like I said, that part didn't crush, but it definitely did pretty well. It was just my kind of running out bad, I guess you could say, at the running back position at the 4 o'clock slate that really, because I even had a lot of Jamar Chase as well. So I had Chase as a filler piece, if you can believe it. I had no other pieces in that game but Jamar Chase. I faded Baltimore altogether, had no Baltimore pieces. I had the salary left in my flex position. I had 6 lineups last week, and Chase was in 3 of them in my flex position all by himself. So, I would have liked to have had, now that I've seen the way the game played out, maybe had him paired with Burrow. But at the same time, I did have Chase on the team also with A.J. Brown, but just didn't have the right pieces.
Yeah, and what's up with Calvin Ridley, man? This dude is just Dunsky. Like he's a wide receiver 2.5, I guess, at this point. He should have cleaned up last week, and he didn't. And it's almost a Cordero Patterson show. You're getting a wide receiver and a running back combined all into one with him.
The weird part about that, Holden, is, and it's a good point because people have been talking about it, and he's getting still the targets though, right? I mean, he's gotten 10, 13, 11, 10, 8. So he's looking at around 10 or 11 targets a game. So he's still getting the targets, but they haven't been able to connect, and they haven't been able to connect down the field, which they were able to do quite a bit last year. You remember quite a few times Ridley had some long touchdowns from Ryan last year, and they just haven't been able to connect with the long ball. So it's similar in a way to the Robbie Anderson saga, which I did hop on board last week a little bit on Robbie Anderson, who has, I don't have it in front of me. I know the boys on the earlier show, I think, talked about it, where he's got, the targets are just crazy with just no production. It's just a crazy combination. It's similar to Ridley, even though obviously I think Ridley's obviously clearly much better football player than Robbie Anderson. But I think we're still gonna. I don't know. I'm not writing him off just yet, Ridley. I think he still has some upside in him for this year.
And he ran 23 routes at wide receiver last week, which is just an exceptional number. You're getting a wide receiver and a running back all into one, and I think
he was in a good game script too, right? He was in a game that, went up and down the field. There was a couple turnovers in that game too, or it could have really shot out. Early in that game, there was, I think, back-to-back turnovers. I think there was an interception 2 plays later. Tua threw it away. So there was a couple interceptions and turnovers in that game where I think it could have really shot out even more than it did.
There's a lot of arguments against him, though. Like, he's 6'2" on DraftKings this week. And so he had that blow-up game at 34. on DK, and then 18 and then 14 last week. But I'll just keep going back to this. Like that 34 is going to happen a couple more times this year. You got to figure out when. Carolina sucks. I don't know
Tua?
what
Are you talking about Tua?
I'm talking about Patterson.
Oh, Patterson. I got
I'm talking about Patterson. And Carolina just flat out sucks, man. They are brutal. And this dude's getting – here's his targets, 6'7", 6'9", 5. There's a lot of wide receiver twos that don't get that on a consistent basis. So
yeah,
he's to me, he's the ultimate lottery ticket. I think he's going to be a little bit owned, but for the most part, people just don't want to go because his name is Cordero.
Yeah, as bad a run after the good start that the Panthers have had, they do a decent job against the run. They've been struggling everywhere else. I think they do a decent job against the run, but Patterson, he does a lot of his damage, even with out of the backfield too. So Patterson's definitely been a really good player. I don't know if I'll have him this week because I do like some other guys, in that range. So, but I definitely agree with the call.
So before we get to the slate that's coming up, I still don't know what G-Rizen's doing, by the way. He says he's – who the hell knows? Who cares?
Yes,
right?
I left him a message and text him.
And I hit him up on Discord a whole bunch. So, yeah, he's got it. Come on, G-Rizen. I'm sure you're going to have a good excuse when actually it's our fault. The Packers. Did you see this stuff going down with the Packers here?
It's really interesting, too, because – and honestly, a little bit disappointing for me because – we try to get out Monday night, and Thursday night here with, me and BigT or my boys will get together and we'll go out and watch the games and have a good time. And we're really looking forward to this game on Thursday, and we'll still get out and watch it. But, I think it definitely loses a little bit of its luster, right? You got 6-1 Green Bay going into undefeated Arizona 7-0, and, a great showdown game. I wish it was on the main slate just because you could, be able to utilize those guys in the main slate contest. But I think we were in line for a really good game. If you take out DA, which clearly he's out, you got some other pieces like you. I mean, is it clearly going to be where Arizona, and as crazy as this sounds with Rodgers on the other side, is Arizona going to almost take Aaron Jones away, which is kind of odd to say it that way. But like you mentioned, there's just no one really that we could really trust. I know Aaron Rodgers trusts a couple of those guys, but for us that watch it, you lose DA. You said MVS has been, awful. Lazard, and then you got Cobb.
MVS been on IR, man. They're hoping to get him back and playing this week. Hoping.
Yeah, he's got nothing, right? So, could it be a case where they're going to try to clearly get Aaron Jones, involved quite a bit? And if Arizona takes it away, I could see Arizona winning this game fairly easily, to be honest.
So here is the non-COVID wide receivers, okay? Because you've got Adams, you've got Lazard. Last year, and Aaron Rodgers said this, we won without Devontae Adams, but at least last year they had Lazard and Tonyan was a much bigger part of the offense last year, and MVS was, this is the current non-COVID wide receivers. Randall Cobb, who I think will probably be popular in Showdown, Equanimous St. Brown, Amari Rodgers, Valdez-Scantling, who's on IR. They're going to try and get him to play. And then two practice squatters I'd never even heard of, Jawan Winfrey and Chris Blair. So that is the wide receiver room right now, Uncle T. And by the way, Tony has completely stopped listening. We're talking way too much football today, but too bad. This is what we're doing. But Randall Cobb, Tonyan, Aaron Jones, and A.J. Dillon. Who's he throwing to this week?
Yeah, I didn't forget about Tonyan. It just, he caught a touchdown last week, and that was the first time he's caught a ball or a touchdown in quite a while. So, yeah, maybe they try to feature him a little bit more and not necessarily feature him, but, get him more and more involved on Thursday. But I don't know. This just, like I said, this just smells like it could be a Arizona, 31-13 type of game or something like that. And I hope it's not. I hope it goes back and forth somehow because, like I said, these evening slate games or these, whatever you want to call them. What's the word I'm looking for?
Thursday night games?
Well, just the primetime games. I'd like to see it go back and forth, but, man, when you're missing the pieces they are. Again, like I said, maybe it's going to be an Aaron Jones type of a game, but having Adams out there. Now, how long does he have to be out? Will he miss next week as well?
I don't know yet. I know that Lazard is in there because he's not vaccinated, so he can't play. At this point, what are you doing if you're not vaccinated playing football? It's like you're just hurting your team.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing. Like everyday people, I don't give a shit. I mean, it'd be nice if you did, but I'm not going to
Yeah,
say.
how long do you think? I know we're crisscrossing sports here. How long do you think Irving's going to go before he cracks? You think he's just going to say screw it?
Who?
Kyrie.
Yeah,
The Nets.
That guy's a mess.
He is a mess.
Can you imagine having to deal with that dude? Like everywhere he goes, he's just a mess. And no, I would not want to deal with him. He probably is not going to quit. He's not going to get vaccinated because they're paying him. He basically doesn't have – he can take this year off and get paid. That's – why would you bother playing if you're Kyrie Irving, a guy that doesn't even seem like he likes to play? He just takes off. He just leaves once in a while. Probably would like to play in about 10 regular season games, I'm sure, and then play in the playoffs. That guy – that's a bad teammate right there. That is what – now maybe the guys in that locker room love him, but that's the epitome of a bad teammate. Just pick up and leave whenever you want. Don't play whenever you want. Don't get vaccinated. Get paid while you sit at home. Who cares? You know, and then make a big deal out of it yourself. Yeah, he's a bad teammate.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I again, tremendous basketball player, but I wonder what those other guys like. You know, if Durant and Harden both come to him at a certain point and say, "Look, dude," you know what I mean? Like, look, you know, what are you doing here? You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that conversation yet has been had, but you got to imagine the longer this goes. I mean, maybe they don't give a shit if he comes back, but I don't know. I would have to think that Harden and Durant care a little bit, right?
If those guys stayed healthy last year, Harden and Durant make a big run. Remember, they all got hurt.
Yeah.
Kyrie got hurt. Harden got hurt. I feel like they can win with those two, personally. I feel like they can win. But
they haven't looked great so far with just the two, but I get it. Yeah,
they'll be fine. I'm not worried about them without Kyrie. But
same thing with like the Lakers situation. I know we're getting into the basketball conversation. I don't usually get to talk too much about the hoops because I'm not on any shows or nothing. But yeah, I mean, in the NBA, I think with the Lakers, they're off to a little rough start, 1-2. They scratched out that game the other night to avoid going 0-3 against Memphis, and they haven't looked great. They've got the quote unquote big three. You got Carmelo getting some minutes off the bench that actually was pretty big in that Memphis game the other night. I don't know. Big T seems to think they're going to be just fine. I just think they need a shooter. I know Malik Monk's going to help a little bit from being able to get a little bit outside shooting. They need to get one free agent somehow along the line here this year or next or in the offseason. They need to get a lockdown shooter where like a Klay Thompson type, as crazy as that sounds. Klay's one of the best shooters in the league. I don't think he's going there, but that type of guy, and then they would be completely loaded. Because Anthony Davis isn't going to play 82 games either. LeBron's not going to play 82. And Westbrook's probably going to play the most games out of all of them probably. But he's going to have his moments where he sits too. So I could see this Lakers team being a, 5, 6, 7 seed come playoff time. I can't imagine them. The West is loaded, right? They still got a loaded Western Conference. So I don't know.
It's just so much drama in the NBA. It's the one thing I wish we could just fix about it. There's so much just like pissing matches and guys complaining about each other. But I do wonder if that's because there's so few players there that everything just gets magnified. You got a dozen guys that are walking around there, right? So if two guys have a problem, it's a bigger story. It's one thing I just don't like about the NBA though. Just shut up. God, like we're talking about the Lakers, what? Dwight Howard and Anthony Davis getting a little scrum, and then that's the end of the world. And then now they're saying they're okay with each other, but are they really okay with each other? These are the stories that we talk about. You brought up Carmelo. I don't think Carmelo is one of the 75 best players in the NBA. I don't think he should have been on the 75 team. Not at all. He might win a championship with the Lakers, and then people will look at him differently, but what did this guy do besides he was just a scorer?
Yeah, if it was like 75, like he did get it. I mean, his first several years, he was pretty damn good. But I agree with you. He was primarily just a scorer. But I don't know. I don't know where I fall on that debate, to be honest. I haven't given it much thought. But
Alex English. I'll take Alex English over him.
Love Alex English. He was back. He was back when I was really starting to watch the NBA. Alex English. He could shoot.
Walter Davis.
Walter. Yeah. How about George Gervin, the Iceman, Spurs?
I had his poster. I never really got to watch Spurs games because how many NBA games did we really get back in the day?
None.
TBS would show like 2 nights a week. They'd never show the Spurs with George Gervin because they weren't any good. So yeah, I never really got a chance to watch him. He was a huge name back then, though. There's no question he's one of the 75 greatest. You know what? I kind of put him on the same level as an Alex English, and maybe English should have been in there, but very, very borderline for Carmelo. I mean, good job. Way to be a great scorer. What winning teams has he been on? You know, most of the great players in there at least taking their teams to the finals. What has Carmelo done? Outside of that 1 year in college where I thought he was going to be one of the greatest of all time, he's been a good player a very good player for a long time. Not one of the best I ever seen.
Yeah, I'm not opposite of your take there, but I value him a little bit more than you do. Maybe a fringe 75, top 75 player or whatever you want to call it.
That's what I'm saying. Fringe.
Yeah, I don't even know where he ranks scoring wise on the alt. He's got to be fairly high up there, doesn't he? Just because of longevity.
27th.
Yeah, I mean that's not bad.
Yeah, he's 27th. Actually, 26th career NBA. Just NBA. He's top 10 in points, but like I said, he's a one-dimensional.
Those early years with Denver, he didn't have anything around him, though, did he?
They had a run. They had a couple of years actually where they were pretty good in Denver, and then he went and he took the money in New York, and he just wasn't good enough to take that team to where they needed to be. Like even Patrick Ewing could do that, take him to some finals. Carmelo just didn't do that. So sorry, I'm not sorry, Carmelo fans. I just 24th in field goal attempts. He's 9th in field goals missed. It's just he's played for so long and just not gotten the job done when it matters.
Yeah, not that it matters in the top 75 or maybe a Hall of Fame type vote or whatever, but you know he's been one of the best Olympic players of our lifetime, right? For sure, of all time. Didn't Durant just last year break his scoring record as far as total points? So you know Carmelo's got how many gold medals? I don't know how many he's up to. Yeah, so I mean you got to give him that. I like you said, I value him maybe a hair more than you do, but I get it.
Yeah, a hair more than I do. That's good. You value my hair more. Maybe I'm sure if someone just looked at the stats and started rolling off stats, they'd be like, "Well, this is top 30 players. What are top 30?" Dude, NBA, you got to lead your team to a championship to be considered, you know, one of the greatest of all time.
It's like the Wishbone. You got to come on every week, like you and I do, to be considered one of the better Wishbone, people that come on. You know, you got JT missing, you got G-Rizen at a safety meeting. It's hurtful.
He's going to say it's hurtful.
He's going to be so mad when he knows we went on early.
He is. We'll see if he shows up, though. He really wanted to talk. I think the Tom Brady, would you give it back, the Tom Brady ball is an amazing topic, but I'm not going to do it if he's not here. You can't do it if he's not here.
Well, we can talk about Tom Brady in another sense because I wanted to wait. No, you want to wait till – I got to walk back my Tom Brady stuff. I got to call it like I see it. I know I've given him more shit the last couple of years. Clearly now, again, let me take a step back. Full disclosure, this guy is incredible, okay? Incredible. Has had an incredible career, probably is the best of all time. But the last couple of years is where I've kind of been banging on him a little bit to where I thought he was on, you know, in that decline that we all see from – you know, from the Aikmans to, you know, the Breezes to just all the guys, when you see them start, but Peyton Manning even, when you see them start to decline and go down when they hit that age and they hit that wall, they go down quickly, right? They really do. And I thought, you know, 2 years ago or so, especially beginning of last year, I thought we saw evidence that, you know, the arm strength wasn't there anymore. He was starting to float a lot of balls. We started calling him noodle arm and such. And obviously it was in a more of a joking way, for sure, but I gotta walk it back, Holden. I gotta say, hey, Uncle T was definitely wrong. This guy is, I mean, he's still playing it. He's probably playing better now than he was 5 years ago. And now I'm thinking, hey, how good is he going to be in 5 more years? I do think he's got more time left. So I want to go on here and say I was definitely wrong about him being done. I'll say that. So
biggest winner I've ever seen. Probably one of my top 5 favorite athletes of all time. And you can read into this whatever I say here, but the end of his career reminds me of Barry Bonds. When Barry Bonds, and he was never washed though. Like the last year in New England, Tom Brady looked washed, man. Right? His arm was not as strong. I didn't ever call it a noodle arm, but His arm's a lot stronger now. Like he's chucking the ball down the field. He's got terrific receivers. It's interesting though. It's like everything changed like this. Now he's down in Tampa, and
yeah. And how about the situation he goes into? And again, it was all set up by himself, right? He knew what he wanted to do, what he was looking for. He goes down to Tampa. You know, they had a good nucleus, you know, before he got there. Then he goes and just gets the pieces that he wants, right? Tells Arians in the front office, hey, I want Gronk, I want, you know, all these, and they're just good. They're just good. I gotta call. I mean, they are. They're fun to watch. I actually Sunday I did have a late Brady stack. The teams I didn't have Mahomes or Matt Ryan. I had one Brady stack on the 4:00 game, and you know, I had him paired up with Evans, and Evans, you know, Evans crushed. But again, that was on my team with the two running backs I mentioned earlier. So it was kind of a, you know, it was all for naught. But no, he's just fun to watch. I mean, he's throwing literally holding 3-4 touchdowns every single week. I mean, he could literally throw 60 touchdowns this year if they don't sit him in weeks 15, 16, 17 and give him a rest if they're that, you know, if they're where they don't need him, he could throw 60, right? What's he on? What's he got now? I didn't even look.
Hold on. How many games are we talking? 7 games they played? I bet you he's got 20.
So he's got 21 already through 7 weeks. So maybe he won't hit 60. And clearly, I'm just kind of, you know, we're just kind of BSing here, but it just feels like he can throw as many as he wants.
Might hit 50. There's 17 games now too. We got an extra game this year. So that I think 50 is well within reach for Tom Brady right now.
Yeah, I mean, look at these pass attempts too. Like even last week when they were totally in charge of that game early, he still threw 36 times, 42, 41, 43, 55. I mean, he's got to be, if I haven't looked it up, he's got to be close to the league in pass attempts, right? I don't know if we can pull that up. Like he's got to be close. Yeah.
Has to be. And they got New Orleans this week on the road at the Superdome.
Which is always an interesting game because Tampa Bay is about a 5 or 5.5 point favorite. And I wasn't overly impressed with Winston last night at all. But, you know, I mean, I try to kind of make him work and think that he's okay, but I don't think so. I think he does just suck. So, you know, Kamara caught 10, 11, 12 balls out of the backfield last night, was a fantasy crusher on that showdown slate. But, you know, he's eventually going to have to throw the ball down the field a little bit to some of these guys and try to open things up. I don't think he's going to be able to dink and dunk his way this week into beating the Tom Brady team.
No, they're not going to win that game. I already bet the Bucs -5. I really laid 5 on the road, but boy, this guy, this Jameis, man, people always talk, now he got his eyes fixed. Now it's this. Now he's got Sean Payton. He's the same guy. He's just not making his stupid off-field decisions the last
He had some terrible reads last night, too. We watched hopefully you watched the Manning broadcast. It was good to have them back, by the way, watching them. And, you know, them kind of giving the overview of the game and then inside each play. You know, you could tell they're trying to hold back a little bit on a couple of those plays where he either threw way behind or way late and the ball was tipped or it was almost intercepted. And it's like, you know, they're wanting to kind of maybe give him a hard time on TV and they're trying to hold back to try to be nice. And it's like, you know, again, the guy that's been in the league this long, I just think he should be better than he is. But
no, I hear you. I've never been a Jameis guy from college onto Tampa Bay. Go look at what happened. Back to the Brady thing. They weren't even a 500 team before when Jameis in his last year. He put up like $1 million. He was the best fantasy quarterback, and then Tom Brady comes to town and they win the freaking Super Bowl. This is how amazing Tom Brady is. It's not just what he does on the field, Uncle T. It's what he brings to the organization. He shows up and everybody's magically better. They're just magically better. I've never seen it before.
Yeah, and then last night when he comes on the show with those guys, it's just, I don't know, it's just, he's so down to earth and he's such a good guy. He really is. I mean, again, I've kind of given him a hard time from a football standpoint, like I mentioned earlier, the last couple of years, but he's proved me wrong. And just a good guy, though. You know, he's a good golfer too, right? I mean, he can go out and golf pretty decent too. So I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to, but we got another 20, 25 minutes at least here, but
hold on. We can't get to these games yet. We got one more.
No, I was going to get to my Brady take with the ball.
Let's go.
No, I mean, I don't know where you fall on it, but it's been talked about a little bit, obviously, the last couple of days. And so I'll start off by saying, what was Evans doing by giving the ball away anyway? I mean, he had to know that Brady was on 599, right? I mean, maybe not, but I can't imagine that them guys didn't know that the next TD pass. He didn't know.
I bet he didn't.
I can't imagine that they wouldn't, a number like that. But
these guys are like so locked in, man. Brady didn't like, hey guys, today's my 600th touchdown.
No, I didn't mean it that way. But just even in the media or in I don't know. I would have had a hard time believing nobody knew at all. But anyway, so he gives the ball to this guy, and it's basically a lottery ticket, right? He basically handed him a lottery ticket for the most part. Maybe not a lottery ticket, but pretty close. And then and then obviously it's been documented what the guy got in return. But everybody this morning on the shows with the ESPN shows and such, they're wanting to know, would you have given it back or not? I don't know. I don't know where do you fall on it? Would you have given it back? And then if you would you have been happy with what he got in return? Because that ball clearly could have. He could have got.
I wouldn't have done it.
You wouldn't have.
It's my ball. Now, ultimately, it paid off for him because he got signed jerseys. I think he gave him a Bitcoin, which is really nice. But
season tickets the rest of this year. Next.
I have that ball, and I put it up for auction. As a matter of fact, when they came to talk to me, I would have gotten up and left the game. I would have just left.
Me and BigT were talking. We were like, we should have just held out and said, "Nah, you know what? I'm going to hold it for now," and then see if they, offer a king's ransom afterwards. But
that's what I would have done. I would have taken the ball. I would have left. I wouldn't not have even stayed. I would not have want to be seduced into giving something up. How much does that get online? The guy just threw 600th, the greatest of all time, and you're telling me that thing's not fetching six figures?
Well, did you hear what he said though about it? He said, if I was, and now what you can say, why are you thinking that way? But he said he wouldn't have sold it, so he would have just kept it in his office. He said if he would have kept it. No. So if that's your reasoning, then for sure give it back. But if you were thinking about selling it, then I think you would have had to have at least thought about keeping that thing.
Yeah, you know what? You know what I would have done now in retrospect too? I would have found a pen and a piece of paper, and I said, here's my number and my name. Yeah. Give that to Tom. Have Tom give me your ring if he wants his ball back.
Yeah.
That's what and then if Tom calls me, Tom can have his ball back. But we're negotiating.
I would like to think that I would have given it back, but I don't know. I just don't know.
No. All right. Who are the people?
Well, I mean, you're in the moment, though, right? You're in the moment. You're not really thinking right away of all the, I don't know.
Like I said, I probably would have taken me about 30 seconds to realize I need to leave the stadium as soon as possible. Yeah. Who at RPS would have left with me? Who are the people that would have? JSU would have given it back. Would Tony have given it back?
I think, I don't know, to be honest with you. He's already got money. I don't know if he would have or not.
That's not – I mean, that's just more money.
I think more people would have given it back than not. I will say that. More than you think would give it back.
I think you're right. I think you're right. And then they got a nice little return. But if I could have fetched $250,000 online, if you had told me –
look at all the good publicity. Not that guy cares. He's a nobody. But, all the good publicity and stuff that he's gotten, you know what I mean, on some shows now. They got him on a couple different things. And I think they said that he's going to maybe go play around the golf with Tom. So, not that all that's worth it, but I don't know.
If he plays around the golf with Brady,
I can't wait to see what G-Rizen thinks about this.
Oh, he's listening right now going, these motherfuckers. These motherfuckers. Next safety meeting, I'm just going to rip them a new asshole. Love you, G-Rizen. All right, that's fine. I get to give my takes on the players this week. I love it. Let's go. Let's talk a little. I guess we've been talking football.
Oh, baseball real quick. You want to give a World Series?
Yeah, let's go. World Series.
Who do you like?
Uncle T, I am so conflicted about this series. The Astros are a bunch of cheating assholes, but a very good friend of mine, Jeff Blum, is their television analyst, and Dusty Baker is like, I respect the shit out of this man. All I want him to do is win a World Series. He belongs in the Hall of Fame already. I'm just torn, man. I think I'm going to watch this thing, and I'll just root for whoever I have the money on. That's it. So game one, we're on Houston, first five.
Yeah. Did you catch the the interesting thing with Baker in Atlanta? So I don't know if you know this or not. I actually, as good a baseball guy as I am, I feel like I am. I didn't realize this, but he was on the on deck circle when Aaron hit his 750. That was interesting. I didn't know that previously. I think I heard it on Mike and Mike yesterday, or not Mike and Mike, but Mike Greenberg show. And then now it comes full circle where he's in the World Series back in Atlanta. So it's really interesting. But I think Atlanta has a chance for sure. I think Houston's minus 140 right now in Vegas as far as the series number. I'm going to take the Astros, I think, but it wouldn't put it past me the way the Braves are going right now. I do think the Braves, top to bottom, without McCullers being in there for Houston, I do think that the Braves have a slightly better up and down pitching staff. I just think Houston has the – look who it is. See that? Hey, we're about 15 minutes left in this show. Are you going to come on? What do you mean, which one? We're on the Wishbone right now. Me and Holden have been holding down the fort while you and JT are slacking. Let's go. We're on live right now. I got to hang up. I'll see you in a minute.
Hit the link.
He didn't believe me. He said, "Yeah, whatever. You're not on."
He's so wasted right now. It's not even funny.
Yeah, but I think, Holden, that I do think it'll be a really good series. I think when you beat the Dodgers, right, the way they beat them, I mean, I think they, even though it went 6 games, I think they handled the Dodgers pretty well. They're going to go in with a lot of confidence. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. I think Houston's got too much in, and I think Houston's in that screw everybody kind of mentality where they heard all year about the garbage cans or trash cans and the noise makers and this and that. I think they're just going to say, screw you guys. We're going to win it. And I like Dusty Baker. Don't know much about the Atlanta coach, but I'm going Houston in 6.
Snitker is like let me tell you a Dusty Baker story then. I'll add to that. The real good story was the broadcast booth that night. So there's a guy by the name of Milo Hamilton, and disgustingly, Milo. He's
remember him. He was on either the Braves or the Cubs radio, wasn't he?
On the Braves, and then he did the Astros. I had him on 9/11 when the planes were crashing in there. He goes, "I'm not on here to talk about planes. I'm here to talk about baseball." To which we hung up on him. What a dick. I hate talking about him because he's dead, but I'll say it anyways. So Milo Hamilton's in there. And whoever he was doing the game with it was his inning to call the game. And Milo goes, no, you are not calling this home run. He took the mic from him and called the Hank Aaron home run and then gave the thing back to the guy after that.
Wow. Now,
it's something I would have done, which makes him a complete asshole for doing that. You can't do that, can you? I guess he did, but – there's something else.
He wasn't with Steve Stone. Steve Stone was with Harry Carey, right? He was with Carey.
Yeah, he was with Harry Carey.
If you said who he was with back then, I would know it because I used to listen to Milo Hamilton. Who was with him?
I can't really find it right now.
You would know it too, if you come across it for sure.
We'll both know it. Dave O'Brien, 1990-91. That wasn't him either. Dave O'Brien did those games a long time ago.
Sound familiar. Yeah.
Oh man, I can't. I'm scouring through everything and I cannot find it. But that's another. Mel Allen called them. Did you know that?
I didn't. I always knew him from the This Week in Baseball on Saturday morning. I used to get up and watch the Twib note. Remember the Twib notes? This Week in Baseball Twib notes.
Oh, I'll tell you. I'm going to be honest with you, man. Every off season, I miss baseball a little bit. I play the theme song to This Week in Baseball.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, this is Mel Allen.
Yeah. Yeah. And they used to have all those highlights there. This Week in Baseball, it just doesn't work anymore, I guess, because you couldn't watch all those games. Now you got every highlight in 1 second. But that was such an amazing show back in the day. This Week in Baseball. Now we just talked about Tom Brady, but don't we have to talk about Tom Brady again when G-Rizen comes back on? Because he's going to lose his shit.
We got what? I know you got to get on the NBA show, so we got what, about 20 more minutes?
Yeah, 20 minutes is fine. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about the time. JSU is fine with that if it takes me a little bit longer to do it. And by the way, we talked to him 5 minutes ago. Where the hell is he?
Yeah, I mean, hey, hold on. Maybe he called me from the workbench. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I interrupted him when I called initially, and maybe he called me back when he was finishing up. I mean, we don't know.
I am going to eliminate the workbench option.
I mean, I'm going to be along the lines of thinking like you, like it probably wasn't, but why wouldn't he already been on by now? I told him we were on the show, and it's pretty hurtful that he hasn't joined us yet, but.
Is he the smartest guy at RPS?
Absolutely not.
No, he's just not. He's not one of the smartest guys at RPS, so we have to grade him on a curve.
We already know he's got one of the bigger waistlines, right? We established that last week. 38.
Oh, man. I didn't work out for 10 days, and I swear to God, I think my 33 went to a 34. I'm a little freaked out about this, man.
I got to graduate up there with me. I just went to 34. All right, come join me.
I'm still wearing my 33s, but it was snug today. I'm like, nah, I can't do this, man. I got to get this down. But no one believes me. Part of the reason why I have to wear even a 33 is because my ass is big. I'm not even kidding. My ass is big.
My ass is big.
Yeah, so it kind of pops out the back, and that makes it tighter around my waist. So I think a 33 would fit naturally if I lost my ass, and I don't want to do that. All right, we just need to get into this slate here. And if G-Rizen decides to meet us, then he decides to meet us. Let's start. We got not great games. I mean, Miami, Buffalo, Rams, Houston, San Francisco, Chicago, Cincinnati, and the Jets. Tennessee, Colts, Pittsburgh at Cleveland. Probably no Baker Mayfield there. Philly, Detroit, Carolina, Atlanta. Can't believe I'm reading all these. New England and the Chargers. Jacksonville, Seattle, Washington, Denver, Tampa Bay, New Orleans. Ugh. I don't see one game where it's like, oh, I got to watch this game this week. Maybe Tennessee, Indianapolis. Maybe. But
yeah,
that'll be it. It's gross.
Yeah, that's the one I like. Obviously, the Thursday night game, you got A-Rod and Murray in that game, and then you got Dak on Sunday night, Mahomes if he plays on Monday night. So you got four of the top probably, 6 or 7 fantasy guys for sure, week in, week out. This week, Holden, I think, look who it is. He's on his way in.
He is.
He's on his way in. There he is. He's trying to connect.
He looks like he's going to murder someone.
He does not look happy. Holden, it's a good time for you to take the wrath of G-Rizen, and I'm going to go get a refill so he can yell.
Oh, you sandbagging son of a bitch. You sandbagging son of a bitch, Uncle.
Did I interrupt your date or what? Are you two fucking making out or what's going on here?
He literally just left for me to take your shit.
Right. You see how he is?
I mean, you
guys say we're going to do this later, and then I'll get
listen, let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you what happened. Did you see in the Discord? It was just, we were going to do it at 7:20. And then Uncle T's like, I got to go mow my lawn. I'm like, Uncle T, I thought he could only do it late. Let's go with Uncle T. You were answering in the Discord every 3 seconds. So you're like, all right.
I got hung up at the UPS hub.
What? What were you doing at UPS? You're always getting hung up at UPS. It's fascinating. I
had to send like 17 pounds of weed out to Canada. So I had to do a lot of writing for the invoices.
G-Rizen, is that legal though?
No, I'm fucking with you. I had to send some robot parts over to Canada. So I had to write all the customs paperwork, all the other shit. It's pain in the ass.
Yeah. Sorry, G-Rizen.
Hey, it happens though. It's all right.
You want to?
It's all done.
Uncle T now.
Uncle T, he's over here grinning like he threw you under the bus.
He did. It was a brilliant move. Honestly, I'm gonna use that move. It was.
Yeah, you look great this week, by the way.
Who, me?
Yeah, you look great. I like that. Oh. I like that pullover.
Yeah, thank you. It's a DK one, nice for a fancy one. Look.
How much?
I don't even hardly play DK.
How much do you have to win?
You know, when you win a 10K a couple times on there, they send you one.
I like that.
You know what?
I can love that, actually.
You can play in $5 double ups, and they sent me this John Elway freaking signed helmet. They think I have more influence than I actually have in this business. Hey, G-Rizen, we're probably going to end up talking like 10 minutes of actual football, but you had the best topic for the show. Do you give the ball back to Tom Brady? Because I would not have, and Uncle T was not sure.
So my view of it is, I've read a lot of things about it. So the Bucs, I was told the guy that they would not verify that was the actual football. So then it would have been a risk that the guy would have been able to prove that was the actual football. So the Bucs had to verify it before he left the stadium. So they were threatening that they weren't going to do that, for one. So two, I understand where everybody's mind is, but me as a collector, I think you need to put yourself in a position to where you end up with something that's a one of one yourself. Like that football is a one of one. That's why it'd be so valuable. So those guys apparently did get some signed helmets and signed jerseys from Evans and Brady, apparently.
And a Bitcoin.
Yeah, and a Bitcoin worth 64K, which is cool. But for me, as long as they signed it saying 600 football, catch, and kind of made it a one-on-one autograph. There's a 1,000 Tom Brady jerseys probably out there in the world that are autographed. As long as it's the one-of-one autographed jersey, then I think that becomes as valuable as that football.
What?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if he has a Tom Brady and a Mike Evans signed jersey that they both said that they 600 touchdown catch and it's autographed by the two of them, that's the only two jerseys that are like that. Those jerseys become one of one, and those are collector's items. So collectors are going to know that was out there. So at some point, that's going to become valuable at some point. So I think as long as you get something back similar to that, I would have gave up the football, because they did hold all the cards saying that they wouldn't verify that football. But,
fine if they didn't, though. And there's enough camera angles where it's like, okay, there's something on the ball that is going to make this unique, so you know that this is number 600.
Yeah, I don't know if they did like baseball. They always kind of bring in the special balls for moments like that. I don't know if they did that for the football. Probably not.
No.
But, I would have ended up trying to get something out of it. Maybe ask Tom Brady for a rookie card that he autographed that said 600 touchdown, or something like that, Yeah.
And sorry to the socialists out there, but then there were socialists that were complaining. Tony Romo's like, hey, he should get to hang out with Giselle for about a full day. And they're all for, oh my God, you can't say that. That's so creepy. Fuck you. You know what?
I got no interest
a wonderful
in
gift.
I'll hang out with Tom. I ain't got no interest in Giselle, whatever the hell her name is.
You know what? I'm not saying that, I mean, of course, she's a very pretty lady, but I'm sure she's probably pretty fun to hang around with and bullshit with. I mean, you probably can get some pretty good stories about Tom Brady. I mean, whatever. I'm not saying.
All right, so who you hanging with, G-Rizen? Is it Tom Brady or Giselle?
I'd rather hang around with Giselle. She's much prettier than Tom Brady. I mean, I'd rather hang around
she's good. You're going Giselle too?
Oh, no doubt.
Why wouldn't you want to hang out with Tom Brady? He's the GOAT. He's the
greatest of all time. I love him.
Trust me, if you're hanging out with his wife, he isn't too far around.
It ain't like you're going to get any, G-Rizen. Dear Lord, you're probably not going to, you're not going to get none. You're just you want to hang out with her, and that's it.
I just want to smell her.
Joint with her, G-Rizen?
I'm saying if you could.
I just smell her, burn one with her, have a drink with her.
That's right.
I just want to be around her. I mean, she's a pretty lady, man. She's one of the prettiest women in the world. Why wouldn't you be around her? Tom Brady? Shit. Yeah. I mean, I'll see him enough on TV when that guy retires. I'd
rather hang out for a whole day with him unless you promise me some action from Giselle.
Of course. You know what?
No action. I'd rather hang out with Tom.
You'd say no if she promised you action. You're a married man. You'd be like, yeah.
Well, I mean, we're thinking hypotheticals here.
Honestly,
G-Rizen, hey, G-Rizen.
I'd sit down and let the snake hang out the bottom of the shorts a little bit, let her see what I'm working with, and then she might want a little bit. Then you just went from having a slight chance to having no chance.
Yeah,
but
you got no chance.
Hey, G-Rizen, I gotta throw Holden under the bus, because he thought when you didn't answer the first time that maybe you're on the workbbench, and I said
you said that, not me. Anyways, who cares? Were you on the workbench? No, he was at UPS.
No, I was at UPS. It happens. Trying to get my day done, do whatever else. But hey, Dole, did you see that tweet I sent you? It was perfect about our conversation we all had about picking the phone out of the urinal, the shitter.
God.
And you see that girl fucking elbow deep in that thing? I was like, man, oh man.
So it's a porta potty too, wasn't it?
Yeah, blue water and everything. She went right in there and got her phone.
You sent that to me?
Water.
My 6-year-old daughter wants an iPhone so bad. I'm like, you're 6. You're not getting a phone. Sorry. I'm not getting you a fucking phone. Here. And I said, here, I got an option. It was right after I saw your tweet and I was hanging with her. I said, what if I dropped this in a porta potty? Would you stick your hand in the porta potty and get the phone? She's like, is there any poop in there? And I said, yeah, it's a fucking porta potty. It's disgusting. And she goes, I really want my own phone, but no, Daddy, it's not worth sticking my hand in poop. So I don't know why that young lady decided to pull it out because that was a public bathroom. At least was my own private bathroom. That
Right.
girl had it in a porta potty, bro.
Disgusting. I mean, at that point, it's gone. I mean, bye-bye. It hits the water, it's gone.
You just dropped $1,000 bill or whatever you paid for it. Big
Right. You better
Move
hope you
on.
got insurance. Better call your provider and get insurance that next day if you don't.
Uncle T, were you on the show or was that the one show? Were you on the show when I dropped my phone in the toilet?
Yeah, I think I was on it.
It was absolutely awful. All right, guys, we got about 10 minutes. So make it snappy on the NFL side. Uncle T, talk to me about 2 or 3 quarterbacks that you got your eye on this week.
Yeah, before G came on, we were starting to talk about the quarterbacks, and a lot of the guys we mentioned with A-Rod and Murray and Dak and Mahomes, they're on the other slates. So, we do have Josh Allen at 8,100 in a great spot against Miami, who can't defend anybody. If you wanted to pay up, he's definitely going to be my pay up spot this week, and you could easily pair him with either Diggs or Diggs is at 8,100 this week, but Manny Sanders is coming in. Where was Manny at? He was down there at 5,400. If you want to save $2,700, Manny Sanders has been pretty good the last couple of weeks.
Very good.
And then in that same game, I know we're going off of the position of quarterback, but if Dawson Knox sits, you got this cheap price Sweeney at 2,900 at tight end. If you wanted to round him out into a stack and save some money, I think Dawson Knox, who's been really good this year, is supposed to probably be in line to sit. I like this Sweeney as more of a punt tight end here early in the week. But a couple other quarterbacks, if you're not going up to Allen, I like the game in Indianapolis, both sides of it. Indy, Tennessee. I like Tannehill, 6,600. I like Carson Wentz, 5,700. Carson Wentz has been really good the last couple of weeks. I think he's finally starting to find a little rapport with, for sure, Michael Pittman and possibly that offense, moving into a different system. Or learning a new system and getting himself, more comfortable. I think that game could definitely shoot out. That game is going to be a popular one for sure. 49, I think that total will go up before now and Sunday. One other guy is Jalen Hurts. I like him the least out of these 4 guys. It actually is going to be a sneaky game. G, you might want to hold your ears here. I think the Lions get their first win this week. If it's not this week, well, listen, they're only a 3-point dog. And when I initially saw this spread, even though Philadelphia has been bad, Miles Sanders went out and is hurt. Jalen Hurts has been an absolute train wreck, in my opinion. Detroit's been playing, as we've been saying each week on the show, even though they're 0-7, they have been playing hard. Outside of, I think, the one game, they've been playing hard, and they had LA where they were driving to take the lead with, 6-7 minutes left, and they turned the ball over. Again, I don't think it's crazy to think that Detroit is a 3-point dog against the average at best Philadelphia team that they can pull off the win. I'm going to predict the Lions win this week. Might come back to hurt me on this show next week, but I like the Lions in this game. But those are some quarterbacks, Holden, that I like.
Yeah, I don't think you're far off. Both those teams suck. The Eagles suck. Like, they are a bad football team. G-Rizen, what are you looking at quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen is obviously up at the top. But, I mean, yeah, you guys already mentioned the slate's kind of slacking some of the better quarterbacks that are on from week to week. Obviously, no Jackson, no Mahomes. But, I mean, I'm just going to go right back to Tom Brady. I mean, the New Orleans can't run the football. I mean, you can't run the football on New Orleans. They're just going to throw the ball. We keep seeing it every week. Tom Brady throws 4 and 5 touchdown passes. He's like a damn machine, especially with those receivers. Evans is playing well. Godwin's playing well. I mean, I just don't see any reason why I need to go away from that. And I think with New Orleans, they're going to keep dumping it off to Kamara. It's probably going to be I see that game kind of being a shootout. I mean, New Orleans, when they had Drew Brees, New Orleans was always considered like the Coors Field of the football. So for me, Tom Brady's kind of standing out. I think I'm just going to – I mean, every time I look up at top of GPPs, if it's not Tom Brady as quarterback, he's one of the 3 or 4 that can continually pop up at the top of these tournaments with teams. I'm
starting to think, and it's not good to make rules like this, but just there's like 3 guys every week to just play. Just throw them out there. I know Mahomes is coming off a bad week, but do something with Mahomes, do something with Lamar Jackson, do something with Tom Brady, and maybe
Herbert,
Josh Allen.
Or Herbert, too. You could probably throw Herbert in there.
Pick any. Who are you pairing him up with? Because we got to run here pretty soon. Who would you pair him up with from the Bucs?
Yeah, I mean, Lattimore is obviously a very good corner for New Orleans, so we're going to have to pay a little bit of attention to that. I don't know really yet. I haven't dug too far in who he's going to be on, but, if they mix and match, I mean, Brady's all about the matchups. I think he's going to stay away from Lattimore, so whoever I kind of feel as if is going to be a little bit more in the slot, which will probably be Godwin. I'm going to assume Evans is going to draw him. So Godwin to me would stand out, would probably be my favorite one. But, I mean, you look at some of these guys and their matchups so far. This week, you got Burrow against the Jets in New York. What kind of weather are we going to have? It's getting cold and windy. I don't think the Jets can even keep up, especially now I don't know who the hell they're going to roll out there at quarterback this week. But you guys mentioned Hurts. Hurts has been putting up some pretty good numbers, but you you don't feel comfortable pairing him with anybody. That's what's kind of tough. It's almost like you're just playing by yourself and kind of hope he runs one in a sense. Now that Goddard is on an island by himself without Ertz, you can kind of pair him with him. But, pairing him with like a Devontae or somebody like that is definitely kind of risky. We haven't seen those guys go off yet.
Yeah, Mike White is the name of the guy. Mike White is the backup quarterback, and I don't know anything about him. And they just signed Joe Flacco, so that's how screwed the Jets are right now. Uncle T, give me a couple running backs.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift, 7,100 in that Philly game. I do think Detroit's going to be able to move the ball for sure against Philadelphia. I can see again Detroit, they have a really good offensive day here. Swift has been getting his work primarily done playing from behind and getting the more effective out of the backfield, but I think he could do both this week. Joe Mixon, 6,900 is price is a little bit elevated, but he gets a really good matchup against the Jets. And how about this? The Bengals, a 10-point road favorite over the Jets. If you were to say beginning of the year or even going back how far that the Bengals would be 10-point favorite over anybody, right, would be crazy. But that just shows you how good that team's playing. James Robinson, 6,600, gets a good matchup against Seattle. And going down a little bit, if Sanders sits in this Philly game, which I think he does, the other side of the Swift, Detroit side, this Kenneth Gainwell at 5K even, I think he could bring you some value if you needed the value, down below.
All right, G-Rizen, running back, real quick.
Running back, I'm going to look at Nick Chubb if he's going to run his butt out there. He's going to probably get the lion's share of the carries. I don't care how good Pittsburgh's run defense is. We already saw, they can just plug in anybody over there at Cleveland with the Ernest Johnson running there. I just think that offensive line's really good. They just got 2 of their tackles back, so that really helps. And then I do like Swift, like you guys are saying. He's in a good spot. He seems to be game script proof too. They keep dumping it to him, whatever else, which is really good. But, another guy, too, that you might want to mention is Daryl Henderson. He gets a shitty Houston team. So I don't know how, if they're going to be up enough to where Michelle comes in later in the game. Don't really know, what's going on there. But, and I'll say if New Orleans has any shot at sticking with Tampa, Kamara is going to have to go off. So, and I'm not sure you're going to get Kamara is going to really be that high owned, just because people I feel are going to be afraid of that running back defense. But we just saw he catches 10, 11 balls out of the backfield. So that's another thought that we might want to keep in mind.
Okay. I'll just throw out one name here, Elijah Mitchell. In his 4 starts, he's taken 85% of the team's carries, and only Najee Harris and Derrick Henry have had more. So he's going to get a ton of work when he's in there.
I like that.
Elijah Mitchell. So that's
I like that.
There.
I like Gainwell too. You guys mentioned Gainwell. I like him, but my question is going to be, which I'm kind of going to do a little research in the week, is, with Sanders being gone, are they just going to pop in Scott in Sanders' role and leave Gainwell in the same role he's in? So that's the question I have. Are they going to bump up Gainwell to get the lion's share of the carries and then have Scott kind of be that third down back? But I think they're comfortable with Gainwell, so I would not be surprised at all if Boston Scott hops right in there instead of Gainwell. So that might be interesting as well. It seems like a lot of times teams do that. They plug the guy who's out. They leave the other guy in their same role he's in. So it will be interesting to see what we kind of see as the week goes on.
Okay. Uncle T, do you have a couple wide receivers you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, real quick. Yeah, I know we're short on time. So if I was paying up Obviously, Diggs at 8,100. I don't mind Deebo Samuel. His price is starting to creep up there, but he's been good. 7,400, a nice matchup against Chicago. If you're going down a little bit, guys under 6K that I have some interest in to start the week. Julio Jones, 5,800 in that game against the Colts. Brandon Cooks should be in a good game script playing from behind against the Rams, 5,700. And then one other guy down there is Pittman, Michael Pittman. You know, people were talking about T.Y. Hilton might be back this week, and it could take a little bit away from Pittman. While that could be true, even if Hilton comes back, I think this is Pittman and Wentz's team right now with JT in the backfield. I think it's those three guys as far as the future. T.Y. Hilton is not the future of the Colts. So I think Pittman still at 52 or 5,300 is still a very valuable piece way down there low to get a piece of that nice game script.
I'll just throw in a couple other names then. Donovan Peoples-Jones. Hold your breath because Keenum's back there, but Landry hurt himself again. Beckham's always hurt, so he could be in line for some volume as much as it's uncomfortable. I think that's a legitimate possibility. I'm not saying to play Jerry Jeudy, just know he's back and he's 4-9 on DK, and I think that's spectacular. And then every week, just play Jamar Chase at this point. That's it.
How about OBJ at $4,600 and you still can't play him? It's terrible.
OBJ sucks.
It's awful.
But Cooper Kupp he's amazing. Him and Stafford are totally connected. I mean, those guys are on the same page. It's those two are something else. But I mean, really, this week you got Deebo Samuel going against a shitty Chicago pass defense. He gets a lot of love from Garoppolo, who should be back in there, even though he's on my personal shit list at this point. Cost me a Q last week. But Cortland Sutton, too, is another guy. He's going to have a shitty Washington pass defense with Bridgewater. So I kind of think Denver might be a good game. I think actually that game could have some scoring in it, actually. But that's just a couple more names to mention. But I really like Godwin and Diggs. Godwin, Diggs, and Kupp are my favorite.
Ooh la la!
Last you said the Denver game might shoot out. I just threw up.
Oh,
yeah. That Washington defense is garbage, just garbage. And go look at Denver's defense recently. They've been struggling too. So they lost some key pieces here in the first few weeks of the season. And I wouldn't doubt if you see Washington just try to air it out. And I mean, neither team can really run the ball that well. So it's got potential, I think.
Oh, Gibson's can run all over Denver. They have no inside line.
Gibson's a hurdle. I mean, Gibson's banged up a little bit.
And the whole Denver defense in the middle is banged up too. It's
right.
Fascinating. The over, huh? We should make a bet on
I don't like that game for the record.
No, that's a horrible game to target, in my estimation, though. Hey, G-Rizen.
I'm not saying I'm committed to stacking to it. I just think it's got a little potential. I think there's some pieces in there you can use because the defenses are so shitty.
Yep.
Noah Fant. But, I think, A.J. Brown, too, against the Colts. I think you got a couple receivers. Uncle T mentioned Pittman. I like Pittman this week. I don't care if T.Y. comes back or not. He's dusty for me. He's old and dusty. I think Pittman's secured that spot with Wentz. He's the man. So that I don't have any issues if T.Y. comes back. Might even take a little bit of that coverage away from Pittman, but who knows? But, DJ Moore, too. I mean, there's a lot of decent receiver plays when you kind of go over it. Running back looked a little thin, but it looks a little healthy at wide receiver.
Uncle T, I think you're getting a wide receiver 1 at 5K this week on DraftKings. Mike Gaseki is the number 1 passing option there. Tua just has no idea how to hit anybody else. He's got so much catching up to do. It's like he misses receivers all the time. The guy who doesn't miss is Gaseki, though. 8 catches, 9 targets, 115 yards 2 weeks ago, 7 catches, 8 targets, and a touchdown last week. If Devontae Parker has a big role, maybe I take back a little bit there, but at 5K, I can't see passing up Gaseki right now.
Yeah, I was on Gaseki in that game stack last week. I'm going to take a pass this week. I get it. Gaseki's been good. I value and have more respect for the Buffalo defense here, in my opinion. I don't care as much for it. If I'm paying up at the tight end, I like Hawkinson, 5,400. We don't have Waller. We don't have Kelsey. I like Hawkinson if I'm paying up. In the mid-tier, we've got both Higbee and Henry at 4,500, 4,200 that are in good spots that have been pretty solid floors for those guys the last couple of weeks, especially Henry. He's been really good. And if you're going down, again, if Knox sits, I like Sweeney at 2,900 as a punt.
G-Rizen?
I like Adam Troutman from New Orleans against Tampa, 4,500 on. He's pretty cheap tight end. I think recently here I've been paying down at tight end, especially with Kelsey hasn't really put up these huge games. We haven't seen him yet. Waller went off the first week, yes, but we really haven't been seeing. So I've been trying to pay down a little bit and just realizing I just need to find maybe around 10 points or so from one of these low-level tight ends and kind of get lucky. So like last week, Waller replacement, Morneau, whatever his name was, he filled in quite nice. Yeah, he filled in quite nice. I'm kind of just looking at these cheap tight ends. I mean, OJ Howard, I'm not saying is that great of a play. I'd rather have Troutman, but I'm just looking at some of these cheap guys that are down there for me. Goddard's a decent play too. Higbee's a decent play against Houston, but really, how much are they going to throw the ball? I mean, there's some questions. I like Noah Fant too against Washington, as I mentioned earlier.
All right, boys, I got to go do the NBA show. G-Rizen, thanks for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed the UPS. Uncle T, wonderful to have conversations with you today. Thanks for
Go Braves.
Thanks for throwing me under the bus. I'm Holden. Whatever. Bye-bye.